Hello, I'm KCRG TV9's Bruce Downey. We've spent our summer vacation in our town. Now that means we adopted 6 small communities and featured each one of them as our very own for a week at a time. And now once again we want to show you all these great places that we visited this summer. We started with a trip to our town, Manchester. And while we were there, we got a lesson in ag-based businesses. Then we traveled south to our town, Coralville, where some forward-thinking citizens have created a very progressive community. And then we headed north again to our town, Vinton. We found that the City of Lights is full of many caring people. And we completed the tour in our towns Marquette, McGregor, and Prairie to Chien on the Mississippi River. They group themselves together as the ports of discovery. But each of these communities has its own distinct identity. Join me now as we take a look at the best of Our Town 2005. We were lucky enough to adopt Manchester during the Delaware County Fair this year. It was a fun week, and we were able to meet some of the 5,200 people who live in that town. Our town, Manchester, is exactly 43 miles from Dubuque, Waterloo, and Cedar Rapids, and people there say the city is smack dab in the middle of the Golden Triangle. The Maquoketa River snakes through Manchester, while Highway 13 splits it right down the middle, and Highway 20 borders the south side. Milt Kramer has served as our town Manchester's mayor now for more than 30 years. He says the key to the community's success lies in its people.
Themselves, and they have a fantastic work ethic. When outside industries come in and look at Manchester being a possibility, I can actually take them to managers of our existing industries, and they can talk about the work ethic and the very, very low absenteeism rate that they have.
Manchester's street department is known for a unique invention. When the city enacted an ordinance banning open burning 5 years ago, it had to find a new way to dispose of leaves. Well, the department took some old farm machinery and turned it into a leaf vacuum of sorts. And once the city collects all the leaves, it turns them into compost. This new invention reduces the number of man-hours and time it takes to collect leaves each season. And the city even received a state award for the invention. One of the agriculture-based businesses still thriving in our town, Manchester, is the sale barn. And KCRG TV9's Cassie Willis found it's a family tradition from the auction block to the burger grill.
If it flies or swims, you won't find it at the Manchester Livestock Auction. This is Feeder and Fat Cattle Day at the sale barn. While ownership changes hands, David Waterhouse keeps the sale moving every Tuesday and Friday.
It's a tough thing. That's why I always said, to make a buyer think he's getting the best buy, possible buy, and the seller thinking he's getting the best possible sale.
David is from a long line of auctioneers. His father Marvin began the trade in 1973, and David's grandfather Wesley started in 1937. Wesley passed away 3 years ago, but Marvin still takes over the mic on sale day afternoons, giving David's voice a break.
I never thought he would do it. David was the shyest child there ever was. And I never thought he would ever, Marv didn't think he would either when he first said he was going to do it, but he has just blossomed at it. So a lot of people think he's better than Marv.
Down the hall, David's mother Barb serves up some of the best beef and pork in town. She manages the cafe at the sale barn.
We're a happy family. We like working together. A lot of families probably would have fights or trouble or whatever, but we enjoy each other, so we spend a lot of time together.
Barb claims there are many perks to working with her family.
I get an I love you on my paycheck. The other girls don't get it, just me.
David says it's been a good 2-year run for livestock farmers, and it's been a good 22-year run for the Waterhouse family and their sale barn. In our town, Manchester, Cassie Willis, KCRG TV9 News.
The Manchester Livestock Auction is one of only a handful of sale barns still left in eastern Iowa. The others are in Cascade, Waverly, and Kelowna. The official population of our town, Manchester, is 5,200. But if you add up all the housing developments in and around the community, that population grows to an estimated 7,000. Jerry Krogman and his son Al started one of those developments on their own farmland. KCRG TV9's Cassie Willis learned why these dairy farmers became house builders.
Jerry Krogman spent thousands of hours farming this land, but now you could say he's permanently rotated his crops.
There really isn't enough money on a smaller farm to just farm. So you have to have something else to help it out. And this has been good for us.
Jerry and his son Al started this housing development 8 years ago after they sold their last dairy cow.
Some people didn't think that there'd be anybody really want to live out here, you know, but proved me wrong.
3 streets and 27 houses later, the Krogman subdivision is still growing on the east side of town. And day after day, father and son work side by side, building houses on their old farmland.
We build all these up here, so you can kind of see what you accomplish, you know.
Really, nobody else I'd rather work with. Really, I tell everybody that. He's a good man.
The 2 men still farm about 500 acres and care for several feeder and fat cattle. But it's the construction business that keeps them the busiest.
This is a lot easier, I think.
It's pretty nice when one's done. People are happy. That's nice. That's the best thing.
Whether they're farming or building houses, the Krogmans say it's all hard work. In our town, Manchester, Cassie Willis, KCRG TV9 News.
The Krogmans started just one of the 4 new housing developments under construction in our town, Manchester. More than a dozen are also under construction on the outskirts of town. Well, just north of our town, Manchester, you will find Backbone State Park. People in our town brag about its beauty. The state park spans some 2,000 acres in Delaware County, and it features Backbone Lake, the perfect place for canoes and paddle boats. And it's kind of a secret hotspot for fishing fans as well, with nice largemouth bass and plenty of trout.
I think it is actually the heaviest stock trout stream in the state of Iowa. They stock it every Saturday, and they also stock it once during the week, and we get a lot of folks coming out to enjoy that.
The DNR says rappelling and rock climbing have also become more popular at the state park, not to mention the hiking, biking, and horse riding trails, plus 125 camping sites. Well, the heavy trout population in Backbone Lake is because of the fish hatchery in our town, Manchester. Iowa's only trout hatchery supplies the entire state with rainbow, brown, and brook trout. Most of these fish go to northeast Iowa streams, but the hatchery also ships some to urban trout projects as far away as Indianola. If you stop by the hatchery, you will see 3 sizes of trout. They use the big ones for their eggs, the smallest ones are still growing, and then the catchable ones are awaiting transfer to local waters.
And a catchable size fish here in Iowa is 10 to 12 inch long trout that weighs about a ½ pound a piece. Real nice size to catch, gives you a lot of fun catching it, and it's a nice size to eat if you want to eat your fish.
And on summer weeknights, you will find many people from our town, Manchester, at the Beckman Sports Complex. It's been a hit from the beginning. Construction on the home of the Hawks started back in 1995. By 1997, all 4 diamonds were playable. Kids of all ages take a swing at baseball or softball, and locals say the sports are growing in popularity. It's not uncommon to have a good-sized crowd like this in the stands to cheer on the teams. The Beckman Sports Complex is really a community-supported project, too. It cost almost $400,000 to build, and all the money came from donations. The center is named after the largest donor and her late husband. Well, now that you know why Manchester is a great place to live, let's travel to our next town, our town Coralville, and we'll take you there right after this. Welcome back to this KCRG Our Town special. Our town Coralville is our next stop. This progressive community of 17,000 is in the middle of Johnson County, adjacent to Iowa City. Interstate 80 splits Coralville in half, and the Iowa River just skirts the southern edge of town. As the town motto says, they just can't hide that Coralville pride. City experts say the town began to take off in the early 1990s, and that momentum has continued with the Coral Ridge Mall and subsequent commercial development. 20 years ago, about 6,000 people called Coralville home. Today, more than 17,000 live there.
You hear them say location, location, location. Well, we have that with the interstate and with the university, with Iowa City and everything. So I'm sure that that is one of the really big reasons that we have grown like we have.
I like the small town atmosphere. You know, we've grown a lot. You know, we have Coral Ridge Mall. We have a lot of different businesses here. But when it really gets down to it, we're a small Iowa community.
The mayor says Coralville is expected to grow to 20,000 people in 10 years and as much as 30,000 in 20 years. The Coral Ridge Mall recently celebrated its 7th anniversary. At 1.2 million square feet, it's the largest mall in eastern Iowa. 7 major chain stores and dozens of other retail outlets fill the mall. And some 10 million people visit Coral Ridge every year.
And I think that's a lot to do with all the amenities that we have. This is not only a mall, but we kind of are creating special experiences and a special place with the ice skating arena, the children's museum. We have a kids play area, and of course the carousel. So it's more than just a shopping center.
The Coral Ridge Mall really is home to more than just shops. Like Sheila just said, the mall also houses an indoor ice skating rink. Figure skaters and hockey players all use ice, but you don't have to play an organized sport to get in on the fun. It's open to people of all skill levels.
People just come out with their families, jump on the ice. Most of them have never skated before. They fall down, they get back up, and they keep going. We've got the adults that we have 80-year-olds that come out and skate. And we start at 2 years of age. We have a little 2-year-old that just turned 2, has been skating for about 4 months now. So as soon as you can walk, throw the skates on, come on out.
And the Iowa Children's Museum is just a few feet away inside the mall. Kids can prepare pizzas at the pizzeria, fix a sore tooth in the dentist chair, or pick out their favorite foods at the grocery store. Organizers say the goal is for kids to have fun while learning.
We want kids to learn about the world around them. Everything that we do here at the Children's Museum is based on sound educational practices. So while kids are shopping in the grocery store and it looks like they're pushing carts full of groceries and sorting them and putting them away, they're really building their math skills. When kids are broadcasting in the broadcast studio, they're learning all about communication. And that happens in every exhibit that you see at the ICM.
The Coralville Rec Center is home to summer camps, preschool programs, senior exercise programs, and indoor swimming lessons. The city built it 25 years ago with the foresight to know the community's future needs. Most of the facilities are free to residents.
This is amazing for the size of community that we're in, the amazing kind of facilities and the amazing kind of programs that we offer. There is something for everyone to do.
This year, the rec department started a new service, the Summer Lunch Program. Every day, volunteers serve healthy lunches to kids in this park. The lunches are free to any Coralville child. There are no eligibility requirements, and the kids are encouraged to eat the healthy foods and then join in a free recreation program for an hour. The Parks Department says the new program is designed to help kids stay healthy and active over the summer. Well, now as you drive through our town Coralville on the north side of Interstate 80, you may have noticed a unique building in North Ridge Park. The North Ridge Pavilion was built a few years ago with recycled products made in Iowa. The environmentally friendly building serves as a focal point for the park. During the week, Coralville Parks and Rec provides programming in the pavilion, and on weekends the public can rent the facility. The roof of the pavilion gathers the most attention.
We have grass growing or plants growing on the roof, and that's to help with insulating the roof. It helps when it rains, it collects all the rainwater on site so that we don't have water flowing off as runoff.
Our town Coralville is also proud of its new golf course. The city recently spent $7 million to renovate its municipal course. The Brown Deer Golf Course now offers 18 holes, a beautiful clubhouse, a pro shop, and a restaurant. The Golf Pro says the course's bent grass fairways draw a lot of golfers.
It's fun. People are enjoying it. We're getting a lot of play out here. And like I say, the clubhouse is one of the best in the area, I can tell you that. Obviously, I play a lot of golf courses, but it's phenomenal.
And our town Coralville's future lies in its economic development. The Oakdale Research Park along Highway 965 fosters that kind of development. The 189-acre park is an extension of the University of Iowa, and it hosts the Technology Innovation Center. One of the center's programs is a business incubator, and it houses 40 startup companies with more than 1,500 employees.
Innovative Software Engineering is a small-town company with big business goals. They create customized software and specialize in wireless communication.
Change your status.
The company started in this man's basement on January 2nd, 2003.
And at about noon, a semi-truck showed up with pallets of computers. We unloaded the computers. We walked around to the basement of my house. We unloaded the computers, and by the end of the day, we were working.
Today, this high-tech business is housed at the Technology Innovation Center on the Oakdale campus. As an incubator business, Mashlab doesn't have to worry about finding office space. Here he has access to many startup services. Tom Bauer says it's just one example of how business can flourish in Coralville.
We provide cost-effective office and lab space and assistance to help connect the company with the university and the professional services and the business assistance that they need.
And the driver has this handheld, and it's a ruggedized handheld, and they can also see their own logs here.
The company's latest creation is a piece of software for the transportation industry. It tracks information from truckers, telling companies how many hours they've driven, how fast they're driving, and even if the driver has violations.
On duty driving or sleeper, and they can choose the location.
With 13 employees, Mashlab says his location on the Oakdale campus will help his business continue to grow.
They know everybody. So if you want to go into a direction, they can always find you the contacts to talk to somebody in the community.
That was Nick Glue reporting. Our town Coralville began construction of its new Iowa River Landing District this spring. But the plans have really been in progress for 20 years. Anchoring the district will be a $54 million hotel and conference center south of I-80 near the Iowa River. The new facility will include a 30,000 square foot exhibition hall and meeting space. It should be complete by August 2006. Other plans include a pedestrian bridge connecting Coralville to Iowa City. And parks, trails, retail, and residential sites will be added to enhance the beauty of the river.
You know, we've got a lot of people that have a vision for the community, and they want this to be a great place to live, to work, and to play. They look at it as a family community, a place where you can really enjoy and get involved in the community, and people do.
The Iowa Rainforest Project we've heard so much about will be part of the Iowa River Landing District 2. Its official name is the Iowa Environmental Project. Organizers have raised $90 million so far for the $180 million project, and they say construction will begin in October 2006. It'll take 2.5 years to build the tropical rainforest, aquarium, theater, and outdoor exhibits. The project will serve as the gateway into Coralville's new river district.
This is an opportunity to really change the way that Iowa is viewed by the rest of the nation. I get a lot of calls from students exiting the University of Iowa who are very excited about this project. They think it's cutting edge, it's groundbreaking, it's creative, and they like the idea of staying in Iowa to work on the project. So I think it's a way that we can draw some attention to the state.
Operations Director Nancy Quellhorst says the project will create 500 construction jobs in our town Coralville. It's scheduled to open to the public in the spring of 2009. Well, that was a whirlwind tour of our town Coralville. We'll show you the highlights of our town Vinton when we come back. Welcome back to this KCRG Our Town special. Now we travel to our town Vinton. 5,200 people live in the Benton County community, which is right at the crossing of Highways 150 and 218. Vinton is halfway between Waterloo and Cedar Rapids, and the Cedar River rolls through the north side of town. The people of Vinton consider their town to be a bit of Midwestern heaven here on earth. And Mayor John Watson has led the city for 12 years now. He says it's because he loves his hometown. During the day, Watson runs the post office in Urbana, just 11 miles away, but the rest of his time is spent working with the people of our town Vinton.
It's a place to raise a family. We have the availability of having a golf course, a hospital, terrific schools, excellent activities around our community. We have the river available. It's just, we're extremely well located between Cedar Rapids and Waterloo. If you want city life, hop in a car and 25 minutes later you got it.
Our town Vinton has renovated an important piece of its past. Community volunteers raised $600,000 to renovate the Palace Theater 6 years ago. Now that theater is home to daily movie showings and live theater performances. 85 volunteers keep the first-run movie theater working each evening, and tickets are only $2 for every show.
People have really enjoyed having the movies back, and it's been a good, stable home for our community theater. We've worked hard at scheduling so that we can do both things, and we've had good crowds.
But Vinton's future really lies in its schools. The Vinton-Shellsburg School District is building a new school. A community bond issue will pay for the $15 million project, and the new high school offers state-of-the-art facilities, plus a greenhouse, rain garden, and research farm for a new ag program. The building is designed for use by students and community members, but it took the district several tries to get it right.
We had 4 failed bond issues for elementaries in the late 90s, 96, 7, 8, 9. And this issue passed, by the way, 65%. And every voting area, Garrison, Shellsburg, rural, Vinton, all passed above the supermajority. So it was an idea that was well accepted.
The Anderson family of Our Town Vinton donated the land for the new high school. Our Town Vinton's newest attraction provides a tour of the state in just 9 holes. The city's new mini golf course blends Iowa's most famous landmarks with a fun summer activity.
Vinton's new miniature golf course is a real hit.
Everybody really loves it. It's a great family activity more than anything. Kids love it, of course, but it's something that we're really trying to promote too, is the family atmosphere. Bringing mom, dads, grandma, and grandpas out here and everybody can play it.
For only $2, you can take a tour of some of Iowa's most famous places and take a shot at a hole-in-one.
A lot of these structures that you see out here on the miniature golf course have been built by different people in our community, volunteers, and it was done locally, and it's something that everybody really enjoys coming to.
Each hole is designed to highlight a unique Iowa attraction. Hole 3 features a combine and corn stalks as a tribute to Iowa farmers. Replicas of the state's major universities add a unique challenge to number 4. And West Bend's Grotto adds a degree of difficulty to the 6th hole.
What we tried to do was make it an attraction not only for the people here in the area, but maybe draw people in from the outside.
And along the way, you learn a little about Iowa's history. The $180,000 project was completely supported by private donations. It's an example of our town Vinton's pride in its community.
TV9's Liz Mathis. The 2-year-old course is open weekdays and weekend evenings. Now, the mini golf course isn't the only new addition to Vinton's Parks and Rec department. The Skate and Activity Center right next door serves as a meeting place for adults, a recreation facility for kids, and a great place to roller skate all year round. Vinton residents donated $350,000 to buy and renovate the rink, the new game room, and the mini golf course a couple of years ago. Now the rec department has 2 buildings and lots of programs to offer Vinton people.
The whole thing is we're supported so well by the community. We couldn't do this without the support that we receive. But yeah, we feel like we have a very strong Park and Rec department. We offer a lot of things for kids and adults and a lot of special events.
On Sunday nights in Our Town Vinton, you will find people packing into the bleachers at the Benton County Speedway. KCRG TV9's John Campbell tells why this dirt track is so popular.
The green flag drops. Heads turn. Mud flies. It's another Sunday night of racing at the Benton County Speedway.
I love this track. It's a very fast little track. There's not a lot of room on it, but it's a hometown track. I'm from here. I get a lot of fans.
Scott Hogan is the Iceman. The Vinton native has been driving in the modified division ever since it began 12 years ago.
Never drove a car before ever, and so that's a pretty good class to jump right into. It's pretty tough, and we were terrible, but we kept learning, we kept progressing. On that right front, let's go 18.
Okay,
it's rough. It's rough out there. I'll watch this heat here, and then I'm going to get in. I just love the speed. I love the just the overall the competitiveness of it, and just trying to get the car to work.
One thing you'll notice on Scott Hogan's 33D car is the word think. It's in the cockpit and it's here on the fuel cell.
My dad would always tell me to think, and so he'd always put it on the inside, and always wants me to think. And then we were just joking around. We had another one on another think decal left, and we just stuck it on the back.
His father, Dick Hogan, drove race cars and owned the local newspaper. He actually died watching Scott race at Independence one night. Dick would be proud of Scott's racing accomplishments. Between Vinton and Indy, he's a 7-time track champion.
That's definitely what it's all about, and that's what keeps you coming back.
Lots of cars, great racing. That's what keeps the fans coming back to the Benton County Speedway in our town, Vinton.
During our time in our town, Vinton, we found that people there truly care about their community and their neighbors. Just ask Joe Sainsbury. The retired educator is mobile again because Vinton cares about her. KCRG TV9's Cassie Willis has the story.
Joe Sainsbury is on the go. The retired Vinton teacher uses a power wheelchair to get where she needs to go around the house. But when it comes to getting around our town, Vinton, Joe used to be limited.
She was stuck here at home. She just couldn't get out without it because, you know, you can't lift her in that chair.
Joe suffered 2 strokes last October. The first stroke caused bleeding in the brain. The second struck her spinal cord and paralyzed her from the waist down.
I guess it's hard when you wake up knowing and say, "Yeah, you can't walk," you know, and you didn't know that. But everybody's been supportive, very helpful, and it just takes time, and I know I will walk again.
3 months ago, the people of Vinton held a special auction for Joe. The goal? To get Joe on the go. Dozens of people donated a total of $31,000 to buy Joe a new van with a wheelchair lift.
I can go almost anywhere. I go to church, I go downtown to the restaurants, and I just go anywhere I want to.
Joe's friend Jan says the event was a living tribute to a former principal who's touched so many lives. It's also a sign of how much our town, Vinton, cares.
Vinton takes care of their own. He said, and you're one of our own, which made me feel really, really good.
In our town, Vinton, Cassie Willis, KCRG TV9 News.
Joe serves on 6 different boards in our town, Vinton. The new van gets her to all those meetings, plus weekly physical therapy sessions as well. We always find something interesting in our town, and when we return, we'll take a closer look at the ports of discovery. So stay with us. Welcome back to this KCRG Our Town special. We squeeze 3 communities into our final week of the Our Town series. By adopting Marquette, McGregor, and Prairie to Chien, we got the chance to spend some extra time on the Mississippi River. Now, about 500 people call our town Marquette home. It sits along Highway 18 in northeast Iowa. Just a couple of miles south on Highway 76, you will find our town McGregor, where 800 people live. Both Clayton County communities overlook the Mississippi. And if you ferry across the mighty river, you will roll into our town, Prairie to Chien. More than 6,000 people live in that community on the southwest Wisconsin border. Prairie to Chien sits at the junction of Highways 18, 35, and 27 in Crawford County. The Mississippi and Wisconsin rivers meet right near this spot, too. We begin our tour of the area in our town, Marquette. This community began as a railroad supply point, and you can see that railroad history in the Marquette Depot Museum and Information Center, which is along Highway 18. Railroad enthusiasts from all over the nation come to this museum to relive the 4 different rail lines that passed through this town.
We just want to preserve the history of Marquette and have people come in and enjoy our museum and go away and tell people about it. So.
The museum also hosts Marquette's Railroad Days, the 3rd weekend in September, so be sure to mark your calendar for September 17th. Well, the people of Marquette have found some interesting ways to draw tourists to their town, too. One local bed and breakfast added a winery to its business. And KCRG TV9's Cassie Willis shows how that winery turned a hobby into a family affair.
You know, the easy part of growing grapes is planting them, you know, and from there on the real work starts.
And the real work keeps growing for Roger Halverson and his son Jay. Their Eagles Landing winery business has expanded twice in the 3 years it's been open.
We always want to keep it a family affair, and so far we haven't hired any help, but we're getting dangerously close here as we expand and expand.
The Halversons make 19 different types of wine. The grape wines take 12 months or longer to prepare. The fruit wines are ready in about 6 months.
A lot of work. Never seems to slow down.
Every step is labor intensive, but Roger says he enjoys the challenge. In fact, he expects even more growth next year.
Our goal is 5,000 gallons, which will produce 25,000 bottles like this, and actually 50,000 if we were to put them all in the small size. And that's about 2,000 cases, so that's a lot of wine.
And that's a lot of wine made right here in our town, Marquette. Cassie Willis, KCRG TV9 News.
The Halversons plan to add a small museum to their winery too, because half of the building used to be home to longtime Marquette resident Emma Big Bear. The Native American died in 1968 at the age of 99, and most people remember Emma sitting out on her front porch making baskets and jewelry in our town, Marquette. North of our town, Marquette, you will find the Effigy Mounds National Monument. This isn't just one monument, though. It's actually a series of 206 prehistoric mounds built by Native Americans on the river bluffs. Some date back some 3,000 years. Archaeologists have found thousands of artifacts and clues to history inside these mounds. And today, tour guides share that history with 100,000 visitors a year.
These kids come here, and they're picking up a tremendous amount of knowledge that they can carry in their life for the element of protection, understanding, and preservation of these particular mounds.
South of our town, McGregor, is the spot that Zebulon Pike chose for a military fort 200 years ago. Pikes Peak State Park is celebrating the anniversary of that discovery this summer. Back in 1805, the government chose to build the military fort at what is now Prairie to Chien, but that hasn't stopped tourists from enjoying the view anyway. The 960-acre park also offers 13 miles of trails and 77 campsites.
Pikes Peak is very special to the people of McGregor and Marquette, and there's a unique bond there both ways. The park brings in a lot of tourists and a lot of economic development and things like that to the communities, and also we have a lot of people in the communities that come up and volunteer.
And the Mississippi River itself is a national refuge. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service protects this strip of river. They call it the crown jewel of the Midwest, and they work to protect the 260 species of birds, 57 species of mammals, 45 species of reptiles, and 113 species of fish along 260 miles of the Mississippi. But of course, humans are welcome too.
Refuge for wildlife, which is our guiding force in all this. For the refuge significance and purpose is to ensure that the wildlife have a place here. But also at the same time, it is certainly, as I've indicated before, a wonderful resource for people. They need to come out here and take advantage of it. It's free, it's available.
If you look toward the second story of some of the downtown buildings in our town, McGregor, you can see history frozen in black and white. Carla Vogel says a blank shade or garage door is like a canvas to her. Vogel's black silhouette paintings commemorate the Victorian age of our town, McGregor. You can see historical figures and daintily dressed women in the windows of the pharmacy, the museum, and private homes all around town.
Yeah, we did them in our house first, and they caused such a commotion. Really, I was really kind of surprised. We had people stopping from out of state and Oregon, probably the farthest.
Another artist is making his mark inside McGregor's public library. Patrick Collins is putting the final touches on the library's 2-year renovation. And KCRG TV9's Cassie Willis learned what it takes to visualize 4 centuries of history in one mural.
Patrick Collins is painting his way through 4 centuries along the river.
But I love doing it. I love to paint.
His mural inside the McGregor Public Library is a 114-foot-long history lesson. It depicts the people who founded our town's Marquette and McGregor.
This guy that's leaning on the lamppost, that's Alexander McGregor, okay? And that's the first McGregor's Landing.
Library Director Michelle Pettit researched the visual timeline.
So we start 400 years back with Native Americans living along the river. We have effigy mounds represented, and we continue through history. Marquette and Joliet, we have Pike.
And Collins is bringing that history into full color with the Ringling Brothers.
The Ringlings lived here 12 years, and they did their first pin and penny circus in McGregor as like preteen and teenagers.
The sand artist, Andrew Clemens.
And he began doing these sand paintings in bottles using natural sand, which he found at Painted Rocks at Pikes Peak.
And Virgin M, the woman who buried 9 husbands.
They used to say whoever her current husband was, she would tell him if she was having a dispute to go out and whitewash the gravestones of the other husbands.
To Dr. Clifford Smith, the Rural Health Practitioner of the Year, these colorful characters may inspire future bookworms to dig a little deeper into their roots. In our town, McGregor, Cassie Willis, KCRG TV9 News.
The Upper Mississippi Gaming Corporation provided a $2,500 grant for the library's mural project, and it should be complete by the end of this year. Well, soon the people of McGregor will have a new event center. A local business owner is renovating a large downtown building on 2nd Street. Jim Bakey plans to call it McGregor's Landing. The front facade will reflect a set of Old West storefronts. The inside will be big enough for special events and parties. And the upper level will house 6 bed and baths. Bakey designed the front to be a stage for outdoor productions, too. Now, he believes McGregor is really on the verge of a tourist boom.
What happens in McGregor is that we preserve our history, we revel in our history, and we promote our history more than ever before.
An even larger development is underway just outside our town, McGregor. A California developer plans to build a resort near Highway 18. The $130 million project includes an 18-hole golf course, a hotel, a water park, and condos. It's called the River Bluffs Resort. And city leaders hope this project will bring even more business to their community. This summer, our town Prairie du Chien became a Main Street community. Now that means the Wisconsin community will receive state funding to help update downtown buildings and streetscapes. The first complete project is these street banners highlighting Prairie's famous places. But the city has several more projects in the works.
We have set some serious strategic goals for the downtown. One of the big goals is the gateway right down where the street lights are down here at the corner of Marquette and Blackhawk. So much traffic is on Highway 18 every day, and there isn't anything right now that makes them turn the corner and come downtown.
Whether you're coming downtown or across the Mississippi into Prairie, you can't miss St. Feriol Island. After several floods, all the homes were cleared away from the island, and the city has been developing it ever since. KCRG TV9's Cassie Willis learned what's in store for this historic place.
From the air, Newscopter 9 pilot Bobby Ratliff gets a bird's eye view of St. Feriol Island. You can see all the room for growth. Centuries ago, this was the hub of the fur trade business on the upper Mississippi, and several important Native American peace treaties were signed here. Now it's home to the Villa Louis Museum, a riverfront park, and an interpretive center. This spring, 3 new baseball diamonds were added on the south side of the island. This fall, a sculpture park will begin construction. And next year, volunteers will plant a memorial garden on the east side.
It continues to change and be developed, and there's a lot of things we can still do. There are a lot of things we would like to see finished. The Dallasman House Hotel has been under reconstruction for about 7 or 8 years. We're hoping that that gets finished, because if that does, that will really be the finishing touch for our island.
It's all part of a grand plan to turn St. Feriol Island into the focal point of our town, Prairie du Chien. Cassie Willis, KCRG TV9 News.
This fall, when you visit the island, you'll see a life-size statue of Chief Blackhawk. That's just one of 24 bronze statues in the works for a new sculpture park. Each statue will represent a historic figure from the area, including a woolly mammoth hunter, Chief Yellow Thunder, and Colonel Zachary Taylor. The $2 million project is the brainchild of sculpture artist Florence Bird. She says the island's view of the Mississippi was her inspiration for the park.
And I just began wondering, now, who stood here before I did and looked up and down the river? And that's how it all started, about 3 years ago. And because I like to work in clay, I went home and started making these clay models.
We've learned that horseback riding is a popular sport in our town, Prairie du Chien. In fact, there's a ranch on the east side of town that's dedicated to matching children with horses. And KCRG TV9's Cassie Willis learned what it takes to become a cowboy.
These kids are one step away from becoming true cowboys. They're in their 4th level of riding lessons at the Children's Ranch in our town, Prairie du Chien.
There's something about a horse, when you put a child with a horse, that it brings out the best in the children.
Doug Rolifson and his wife Chris manage the ranch. The nonprofit equestrian facility was created to help disadvantaged kids and troubled teens learn to ride.
You can do rodeos and just ride, and they can be like your best friend. But yet you have a challenge with riding them because they don't always listen or anything.
I do barrels and poles, and I'm going to be learning how to team rope and goat tie.
The ranch offers free lessons to young riders from the age of 4 up to 18. They work their way through 5 skill levels, from pilgrim to wrangler and finally to cowboy.
They learn responsibility, they learn some lessons in life. It teaches them how to love something, to have something love them back. And I guess that's what we're trying to teach.
The Children's Ranch was founded in part by Jim White 9 years ago.
Once you put a child on a horse, like 5 or 6 years old, and within 3 or 4 minutes have him controlling that horse, the expression on the child's face is just, they just beam. So that was the whole idea.
An idea that turned a love for horses into a love for children.
It's my favorite place to be.
In our town, Prairie du Chien, Cassie Willis, KCRG TV9 News.
You could learn to be a cowboy too. Every Tuesday afternoon, the Children's Ranch offers free pony rides at 3:30. Horse trails and camping sites are available as well. Down on the river, 4 high pyramids, barefoot skiing, and ski jumping are just a few of the tricks on display in our town, Prairie du Chien, every summer. KCRG TV9's Sean Terrell has more on the Mississippi Blackhawks ski team.
There's only one place to be in Prairie du Chien on Friday night, along the banks of the Mississippi, as the Blackhawks ski team hits the water.
We are a very unique team. We are very small, but we can do big things. And people have big hearts, and that's what keeps us together.
We enjoy skiing together, being together, and having a good time together.
Founded 13 years ago, the Mississippi Blackhawks put on an hour-and-a-half show off St. Ferriol Island on most Friday nights during the summer. You get nervous out there?
Oh no, I'm a show-off, so I love coming down here in front of the crowd.
It's nice, you know, being an old high school athlete and being able to get in front of a crowd again and hear the cheers and the applause for you.
There's never a charge for admission. The team is supported by sponsors, and the skiers do it because they love being on the water.
To see the smiles on people's faces, like these new kids that come in and need something to do, just to teach them, and when you show them something new and the smile that they get on their face to come out and do this, that's the reason why I'm here.
And it's a show the whole family can enjoy. In fact, the Blackhawks themselves are a family affair, with skiers ranging in age from 8 to 31.
There's a lot of moms, dads, kids down here. The kids may ski, the moms may sew costumes, dad might drive a boat. So all aspects of a family can be involved in this show.
In Prairie du Chien, Sean Terrell, TV9 Sports.
Well, now that you've seen all the places we've been to on our summer vacation this year, it's time to meet some of the most interesting people we've met along the way. And that's next, right after this. Over the past 15 summers, KCRG has adopted 60 eastern Iowa communities through the Our Town program. Each of these communities is unique in its own way, but they all share one common thread: caring people. Now, there's a woman in our town, Prairie du Chien, who can ride 6 horses at once. This fall, Elaine Kramer will join the likes of Dale Evans, Patsy Cline, and Loretta Lynn in the Cowgirl Hall of Fame. Elaine met all those famous people on the road as a horse trick rider in the 50s and 60s. Now her friends have gathered to help her celebrate a lifetime of thrilling achievements.
I've always loved horses. They're my first pride and joy, and they always will be, you know.
She enters the arena at a full gallop. She just really comes tearing into the arena, and then immediately goes into some complicated maneuvers of very nice circles and figure eights. And then over on the side, a couple of her people would set up a jump. And off Elaine would go, and she would jump 6 horses over a jump. And then she'd come to the center of the arena again, waving to everyone. And then she'd go around again. This time she'd go over 2 jumps. And they had them spaced so that at one point there would be 2 teams up in the air at the same time. So it looked like a carousel of horses going over jumps. And then 2 strides after she'd be over those jumps, Elaine's got all the reins in one hand and she's waving to the crowd.
I was young. I was young, and I enjoyed it, you know.
I remember coming into her barn down here, and all her horses would always say something when she come in the barn. The communication she had with her hands to every one of those horses was magic.
And I know my son always wanted to go, and sometimes we didn't have the money to go, so he'd crawl under the bleachers so he could watch her.
We said, Elaine, are you in the Cowgirl Hall of Fame already? And she said, no. And we said, you deserve to be in the Cowgirl Hall of Fame.
They got me inducted into the Cowgirl Hall of Fame in Fort Worth, Texas.
We do feel it is a tremendous honor first of all, to know Elaine, and then a tremendous honor for her to be inducted. And so we are just thrilled.
It's been a whirlwind, I'll tell you.
And now Elaine is young enough yet that she can talk about what she did, and maybe we can inspire some other young woman to start standing up on a couple of horses.
After performing in every major rodeo and horse show in the United States and Canada, Elaine came home to retire in Prairie du Chien. She still manages her family farm and mobile home court, and Elaine recently finished 3rd in a Wisconsin state bowling tournament. Well, this summer we learned that our town Vinton makes a point of taking care of its own. You're about to meet one Vinton family that takes that caring one step further. KCRG TV9's Cassie Willis spent an afternoon with the Lowe family. They have a gift for seeing the best in life.
16-year-old Caitlin Lowe loves to drive her dad's '68 Corvair convertible. It's a chance to practice her driving skills and to spend time with her new dad. Caitlin is one of 4 girls that Ray and Trish Lowe have adopted.
He does better with teenagers, I do better with younger kids. We just work together well as a team.
The Lowes share their love for kids as foster parents. They've cared for 29 children in the last 10 years.
You take a child who's been through a bad situation, doesn't trust anybody, doesn't have a reason to trust anybody, doesn't want anybody getting close to them because that usually ends up getting hurt, and you get hurt, so it takes some special patience and ability.
Patience is something Ray learned at an early age from his parents and from the Iowa Braille School in our town, Vinton. Ray lost his eyesight to cancer when he was just a baby.
I don't see blindness as so much of an impairment as just maybe something that's caused me to live my life differently. Because I do a lot of things a lot of sighted people can't do.
Ray lives his life very differently. He and his wife are attorneys who specialize in defending abused children. And Ray has battled cancer 3 times over. But that hasn't stopped him yet.
He's a survivor, you know, and I know that I'll be a survivor because I'm with him.
The Lowes say if you hang out with them long enough, you'll forget Ray's blindness. Instead, you'll see the blessings of life. In our town, Vinton, Cassie Willis, KCRG TV9 News.
Ray and Trish are proud to be professional parents in our town, Vinton. They say it's the best place there is to raise a family. Well, as you can see, some of the best places on earth are right here in our area. That's why KCRG takes this tour each summer and adopts these communities as our town. To all the people in Manchester, Coralville, Vinton, Marquette, McGregor, and Prairie du Chien, thanks for making your town our town. And thank you for joining us. Have a great day.